Hi, this is Rebecca Sutton with ResilientWomen.club, and I help women with mental health issues find confidence, strength, and become ready to be entrepreneurs or to pursue the life of their dreams. I have with me today CeCe Heart, who is an inspiration activist. Hi, CeCe.
Hi, Rebecca. Thank you so much for having me here today.
Thank you for being here. I'm really interested to hear your story. Tell me about yourself.
Okay, well, first of all, I just want to say that I was so shy when I was younger that I never wanted to talk about anything. And so I put that so deeply within myself that now being here to be able to share this is, I hope, very helpful to people. And so I grew up in a very protected, sheltered household. And somehow in my teens, I rebelliously got out and ran into a man that was incredibly abusive and broke me down in tremendous ways. And so he went to jail 3 times in our relationship, and I was 15 years old, which
Wow.
is so heartbreaking to admit. But 15 years old, so naive, so young, and my parents, like I said, sheltered me. I was such a good, kind-hearted, like sweet, innocent girl, and I found this man he was so hurt in his own emotions. He had obviously been through a lot, and I just fell in love. And I kind of, in a whirlwind, got caught up in that story with him.
Mm-hmm.
And he abused me for no reason. He was bipolar, and he had depression, and he would just lash out. And being young and never having experienced that before, I didn't know what to do. And also being young and, sorry, mother, but lying at the time about the relationship, I had no one to turn to. And it lasted for so long because I was so terrified to leave him that it started to create a mess in my mind. So nightmares turned into like extreme PTSD, depression, anxiety, to the point where I didn't even want to live anymore. And my clothes went from bright pink to black. And my mom asked me, what's going on with you? And I started drinking and lashing out and lying. And I just had really no hope anymore. Just it's hard to even explain, but I'm sure people that have been through this know the feeling when you're just kind of in this dark nightmare of just trying to get by day to day. And so I was going through that at the same time as still in high school. And my boyfriend at the time got worse and worse. And I remember there was a day where I made him food from when he was going to come home from work, and he threw his construction helmet at me because the food was just slightly burnt. And I was like 16, I didn't know how to cook, and just that kind of thing, to the point where I started to question myself and everything I did, because I thought everything was wrong, because this is an elder, actually, at that point, someone much older than me, teaching me that this is behavior that's acceptable. And so that's kind of a little look into it. Definitely he tried to kill me so many times, just out of rage. And the thing that I actually want to say about that, and I'll tie it in later about how it helped me heal, is that sometimes when people are acting in this way, and this is not to excuse behavior like this at all, but it's not about you. And I think that so many of us, we take it so personally that we're doing something wrong, that this behavior directed toward us is because of us, that it starts to really just ruin us from the inside out in our mental capacity. And that's what happened to me, is that I just fell apart emotionally, and I had to drink so much to try to just live without thinking that I was a complete failure or that I didn't deserve to be there. And so I actually got a break when he ended up going to jail. But the light of that was that it just gave me enough opportunity to break free. And I know that not
Mm,
everybody has that opportunity.
that is so true. How do you feel your age played a big part in the sort of deception that you went through with this gentleman?
Um, that's really hard to say because I don't know otherwise. But I think that being very young and naive played a part. But I also was, I guess, in the same way as naive, just I believed the good and everybody wanted to. You wanted to believe that people had goodness inside them. But I also was old for my age in the same time. And I think that even now, like at any age you could be, I'm 30 now, but um, that you could fall into the same deceptive traps when you want to see the good in someone.
Hmm. That is so true. It's easy to fall into that trap simply because we're good people and we're kind-hearted, and you really have to become a resilient woman. So how did that make you a resilient woman?
Well, there was one day when I was like, I literally was on the floor, I remember, and it had been a couple years since I had talked to him. And I called him because I was that low. And then I turned myself around in that moment because I thought, what am I doing? What is going on in my head? There's something wrong in my head. And when I made that connection that I told myself I had like caught something, like you catch
Hmm.
love. But when I realized that it was stuck inside me, I opened up a book of positive psychology and I started to address my own mind and look at my own behaviors and my own triggers and my own traumas and associate them. So, okay, so he told me I wasn't good enough. What can I do to feel good enough myself? And just started to go one step after one step, working on the triggers that I knew that really harmed me and were weighing on me and building myself back up for myself.
That's good. So you mentioned you used a positive psychology book. Were there any other tools? Obviously, mindset is a big part of it. Were there any other tools or any other aspects of healing?
Um, at the time, it was definitely mindset. It was positive psychology. I was going for walks every single day and just reprogramming my mind and doing meditation. And it did lead into many other healing modalities down the line, but those were the first ones. And I also started to change my diet because I realized that, well, I wasn't eating healthy and I was drinking a lot. And so, what's really interesting to me is that I actually went to a psychologist at the time and I told them what was going on. And I also said, I'm drinking for this. And I associate these things together. And she said, well, you're not in that relationship anymore. And it's fine if you drink. And I thought that was
Huh.
very interesting that that came from
Yeah,
a healthcare provider. So then I thought I need to look at alternative ways to heal. And that was like the mindset and movement and eating cleaner and like eliminating associations that would bring me into a darker place.
that's wonderful. That's great. So it sounds like you did a lot of the work on your own.
Actually, I did because I didn't know anybody that could help me. And I think that just my personality, how it was, is that I don't know that I was going to let anybody help me either.
Okay,
So I think that a lot of people can really benefit from having someone there. And eventually, down the line, I found my partner who really helped keep me in a strong position to maintain the healing work that I was doing for myself. And it also incentivized me because I knew if I could really get rid of my demons, and then I could uh, get to a better place and have a stronger relationship with him.
that's great. So tell me about your work now.
So now I think a lot of it, I always think that we go through these things in order to come out of them alive and like, resilient and stronger so that we can at least in my opinion, I think that my experience was so that I could share with others, so that I could empathize with them on a real level, because I know what it's like to have someone that you love literally threaten to kill you. I know what that heartbreak feels like. And so I now I learned modalities of healing from all over the world. I've traveled for over 6 years learning different things, from abdominal massage to different mindset techniques to different meditations to breath work, all these different alternative healing modalities to get the things that are stored inside of us out. And so now, I guess you could, I mean, I call myself an inspiration activist because I use a lot of different tools. Like, I'm a chef and I make meal plans and personalized food creations for people specifically, and but I also do like a lot of energy healing and using all of the other techniques that I talked about. So really, I just want to inspire people to be as happy and healthy as they can, no matter what trauma or pain that they carry within them, because I know that it's possible to overcome it.
Sounds like you have a diverse portfolio.
Yeah, I try to keep it interesting. I want there to be many techniques so that if one doesn't work, there's always another one.
That's a great philosophy. Well, thank you for being on today. Where can we find you online?
You can visit my website at cceheart.com. You can connect with me there. I'm not online that much, but if you go through the website, you can connect with me and I will get in touch with you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your story, for being vulnerable, for sharing for my audience. And I wish you the best in your endeavors.
Thank you so much for having me here. I hope that this, my story helps someone feel that they're not alone.
I'm sure it will. I'll be I'll be talking to you again soon. Take care.
You too.